What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to the season prediction video. The NFL just officially dropped the schedule for the new and upcoming season, and here's my prediction for all the games.
Looking down the field, Lamb, 10, 5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.
I cannot believe it. We have another season already here. Like I said, the NFL released a new schedule, and as I've done the past couple of seasons, I'm going to sit through this. We're going to go through them each game, and we're going to give my prediction of what I think the Cowboys will do, how they will do. Of course, the biggest chunk of this, the biggest disclaimer that I always have to say is injuries, right? Like last season, I had no idea. I could not tell you, even though I was there Sunday Night Football against the Buccaneers, I could have not predicted the fact that Dak Prescott injured his finger and then Cooper Rush would step in. That's the biggest disclaimer here. Obviously, I have no idea what's going to happen this season with injuries, but I feel pretty good about where our team is, and that is where I will start off. But I like where the Cowboys are at post-draft. And how about what they did before the draft? In free agency, probably the most active that we've seen the Cowboys be in free agency, and they've acquired a lot of good talent, and they filled a lot of empty holes that they needed to, and then they went into the draft and they only got better. So I'm here to tell you, even before we jump into this season prediction and we go through each game and I give you my final record prediction for this team, the Cowboys, they're already better than they were last year, which is amazing. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'm so excited. Another brand new NFL schedule just right out of the press. I'm very excited. So let's go ahead and just jump in. Be sure to comment down below your record prediction as well and what you think about each and every one of these games. Let's go ahead and start off with week 1. We have the New York Football Giants. This is going to be our first divisional matchup here in the NFC East. Not only is it a season opener, but we're opening on Sunday night. And this is going to be at New York. So we're starting off on the road on a nationally televised game against the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants went to the playoffs last year. And if you want to just look at big picture stuff, well, the Cowboys and the Giants did exactly the same thing last season. They both had pretty good regular seasons. They won one playoff game, and they ultimately fell short in that second round. So ideally, I think a lot of people are going to compare, say, hey, the Cowboys are better, the Giants are better, Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott, whatever it may be. They both identically did the same thing. And I got to tell you guys, because I'm your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan, at the end of the day, there's not too much that we can throw at each other between Cowboy fans and Giants fans. We both ultimately did the exact same thing. And so this is going to be an interesting matchup. I do want to say that I was a little bit disappointed. I really wanted the Cowboys and the Eagles Sunday night. I thought that would have been a great matchup. Of course, I wanted to highlight the Hurts and the Prescott matchup. Because we didn't get that last season. It's been a while, and I feel like we're overdue. So this one, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll just say it. The Cowboys and the Giants have opened up the season a lot of times before at different slots, and I can already picture all of us, Cowboys Nation, on Sunday kickoff, waiting all day just to watch the Cowboys play. Now, it made sense when we were playing the Buccaneers the past couple of seasons. I mean, it was worth the wait. I mean, you're playing Tom Brady. That makes sense. But come on, this is the Giants. And the Giants are going to have a good season. I'm not saying that this is like a terrible opponent. I'm just saying, to me, this isn't worthy of a primetime spot to open up the season. I'd rather just go to the afternoon slot, see this game, play it out, and not wait all day for this anticlimactic game. And there's a lot of matchups that you could have gone with here in the first week. But other than that, that's just my opinion about the first matchup. Not really the biggest fan about playing the Giants on Sunday Night Football. But this is a win. This is a win. Like I said, the Cowboys are better than they were last season. The Cowboys swept the Giants last season. And I feel like the Giants, like I said, they're going to have a good season. They're really going to capitalize on what they built last season with Brian Daboll as their coach. But the Cowboys got their number here. The Cowboys, especially that defense, man, especially that defense. I said it last season. I was so excited to see the defense pick up right where it left off. The offense has a little bit of a new identity identity, but I mean, they're not stepping up in terms of complexity. They're dialing it back a little bit and running a more simpler offense with Schottenheimer and Mike McCarthy calling the plays. So I feel like the offense can really get that rhythm in training camp and in preseason. And the defense, the continuity with bringing Dan Quinn back, we're going to see that in action here. I see the Cowboys winning opening night here and going 1-0. So then we go into week 2 here. We're going back-to-back matchups in the state of New York. Well, actually, the Giants aren't really in New York and the Jets aren't really in New York, but you get it. Anyways, so we're playing the New York Jets. This is an exciting matchup. It's our home opener. We're going to AT&T Stadium. Just not any New York Jets football team, guys. It's Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, that was the biggest news in the offseason, waiting for that whole trade to go down, waiting for it to go through. But it's finally here. The Jets finally acquired Aaron Rodgers. A couple of things you need to know, right? We played Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers last season. We saw that. It was horrible. It was awful. We should have won it. I get it. And Aaron Rodgers is undefeated in AT&T Stadium. But I just think that comes to an end here. It comes to an end and we get a win for Coach Mike. I do believe we take down the Jets. Now the Jets, I'm not undermining them. They're going to be a good football team this upcoming season. They're very underrated and they're in a division that is very open. And I do mean that because I do know the Bills are in the AFC East, but I do mean that the Jets, they can really make a run in the AFC East with the way that the other teams are playing right now. And it's just really an open field in the AFC East. But I do believe the Cowboys get a win against Aaron Rodgers at AT&T Stadium. Mike McCarthy defeats Aaron Rodgers, and the Dallas Cowboys start the season 2-0. Let's go ahead and go over to week 3. We're going back on the road. We're going to Arizona. We're going to the Valley. We're going to play the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is interesting because I'm not too sure the timeline on Kyler Murray's injury and his rehab. Now, they suspected that he'll miss a few games to start the season. Could this be potentially a game where he makes his start? He returns back from his ACL injury that he suffered last season. My best advice, and I'm not a medical professional, I'm just a content creator, but my medical advice and my advice to Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, I would highly recommend against not playing Kyler Murray in a game against the Dallas Cowboys, where we have Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Mozzie Smith, our first round draft pick. I'm just saying, the Cowboys' defensive, the pass rush is going to get after some people. We're going to get after so many quarterbacks. I'm so excited. I can't tell you how excited. I didn't think another level could be reached with this defense. And with Dan Quinn coming back for a third season and we're acquiring new pieces, oh man, defense wins championships. But remember what Mike McCarthy said. Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback. There's a lot of expectations for Dak Prescott in this upcoming season. Back to week 3, though. Cowboys win this one. Cowboys start 3-0 on the season. They're currently undefeated. Now, let's go ahead and go to week 4, where we're going back to AT&T Stadium. We're going to play the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, they're coming to AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, to take on the Dallas Cowboys. This is a win. It's going to be a win. I don't expect it to be as dramatic as that last time that we went down into Foxborough and we took on the Patriots and went to overtime, and that was a crazy end of the game. I expect this game to be pretty straightforward. The Cowboys are the better team, and I think they get a really hot start to the season going 4-0. So let's go to week 5. We're going to Sunday Night Football matchup, our second one in the first 5 weeks of the NFL schedule. We're taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. Now, of course, this is a rematch from the divisional round. I just said it, guys. I said the NFC's wide open, and I have big question marks about the 49ers and their quarterback situation and their running back situation. Their defense is still there. It exists. It's going to give Dak Prescott a hard time, but you got to know that the Joneses went out and got Dak Prescott help this offseason, and our offensive line is refueled. It's rebuilt, and I think the Cowboys easily win this one right here. I think they take down the 49ers, and they move to 5-0. Yes, I have the Cowboys starting 5-0 to start this upcoming season. And then we stay there in California because in week 6, we're going to be taking on the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. Now, this is interesting. this is interesting. It's on the road, and I'll pause here for a moment because I'm really big on home and away records. If you look at last season, the Cowboys were literally mid on the road. They went 5-5. That's the playoffs included. In the regular season, they were 4-4. But then the playoffs, won the wild card in Tampa Bay, and then the road game in the divisional round in San Francisco. We won one, we lost one. We were 5-5 last season. I really want to see improvement on the road. Because, granted, I'm really happy the Cowboys have been able to capitalize on home field advantage. I feel like that's never been a thing at AT&T Stadium. So they did really well last season. I hope and I believe that's going to carry over to this next season. But the Cowboys got to be a better road team. And I think really with the simpler offensive game plan and mindset that Mike McCarthy and Schottenheimer are bringing on over, I believe that can be done. And so, interesting this game with the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, Kellen Moore has been fired. He goes over to Los Angeles. He's now their offensive coordinator, pairing it up with Justin Herbert. Now, look, this is going to sting. I'm just going to say it. It's unbiased. It's realistic. I'm just going to say it. I do believe the Chargers beat the Dallas Cowboys here. I know. I hear all of you right now. You're commenting. You can't believe it. I just have a hunch about this one, and I don't mind being wrong. Heck, I would love to start 6-0 in this season right here and beat the Chargers going into the bye week. I'm not arguing. I would love that, but I can also see this being something that Kellen Moore just has in his back pocket. He's just waiting to take on the Cowboys in this circumstance. And the last time we played the Chargers was a super close game, and Justin Herbert's a very young talent. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, so this is going to be a really close game. It's a great spot for Monday Night Football early on in the season. So anyways, I got the Cowboys dropping their first loss of the season. They go into the bye week. They go into week 7 sitting at 5-1. So not really bad. I know you don't want the Chargers to beat the Cowboys, especially out there at SoFi Stadium, which is practically AT&T West. But 5-1, that's a great start. If you tell me at the beginning of the season that we're going to be 5-1 by the bye week or 4-2, I will take that any day of the week. I don't care who we lose to. That's a good start to the season. So let's go and jump into week 8. We're taking on the Los Angeles Rams. They're coming to AT&T Stadium. This one's a win. We're going to beat the Rams. They're still trying to figure things out. They're trying to figure things out with their quarterback situation. It's just the Cowboys are going to take care of business here. They're going to move up to 6-1. And then we have a matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles here in week 9. Now I'm just going to tell you, I'm splitting the games with Philly. I'm giving one to Philly and I'm giving one to us. Both these teams are just so good that I don't believe either team's going to sweep them, and if they do, that's another discussion for another day. But I'm splitting both of these. I'm giving one to the Eagles. I'm giving one to the Cowboys. This one's going to be in Philadelphia, so I'm going to give this one to Philadelphia in this circumstance. So the Cowboys in week 9 will drop a game. They'll drop down to 6-2, but the next week, week 10, they play the New York Giants. They come back to AT&T Stadium. I believe we sweep the New York Giants again, and Dak Prescott owns the New York Giants again. We move up to 7-2, and then in week 11 we travel down to Carolina to take on the number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. Dallas Cowboys are going to take care of business in Carolina, and they're going to defeat the Panthers to move to 8-2. So now we go over to week 12. This is our Thanksgiving game. The Cowboys and the Commanders are playing on Thanksgiving. I mean, there's a lot of options that you could have chose for that Thanksgiving game. I feel like this is the safest option. I feel like a lot of people are going to tune in, but dare I say, maybe the Jets. That would have been a fun, Thanksgiving game. Regardless, the Cowboys. I believe they take this one. The Cowboys are going to beat the Commanders on Thanksgiving, and that's going to take them up to 9-2. So I have the Cowboys thriving right now. I got them. I gave them the hot hand, 9-2. Like I said, I feel like this defense is going to pick up right where they left off and be even better. And with Dak Prescott being healthy and with weapons now, oh boy, this is something to get excited about, Cowboys Nation. We got a team to cheer for this year. And then that's the Thanksgiving game, but then we jump into week 13. We're on Prime. The next week, another Thursday night game. We're going to be taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are a little bit of an interesting team. They gave Geno Smith the extension this past offseason, but the Seahawks don't scare me. This one might be a little bit of a tough battle in the first half, but I'm seeing the Cowboys come out on top against the Seattle Seahawks, especially at home. So the Cowboys get a couple of wins right there. I have them on a little bit of a winning streak here. Beating the Seahawks would put them at a 4-game winning streak at this point of the season. With that win over the Seahawks, I have them at 10-2 at this point. And then we go to week 14 for a Sunday night football matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure this is going to be a super hyped game. The Eagles, at this point, I have the Cowboys at 10-2. I would not be surprised if the Eagles are right there or right behind us in any sense. This is a very important game with huge playoff implications, so it is a must win. We're in November at this point. Actually, I think we may be in December at this point. But like I said, we're splitting these games, and so I'm going to give the Cowboys this game later in the season, and they defeat the Philadelphia Eagles, going half with the series, 1 to Philadelphia and 1 to Dallas here, and the Cowboys will beat the Eagles on Sunday Night Football in week 14 and go to 11-2. And so, okay, this is where the schedule gets a little bit interesting. I'm not going to lie. The schedule gets a little bit tough here, and these teams, well, they gave us a tough last 4 games here, and this is really, and just like anything, right? Like in December, that's really where you get the true, where you measure your team the best, especially against this talent here. Week 15, guys, we're going to Buffalo. We're going to Buffalo in December. Yeah, that's things I don't want to hear. This is going to be a really good game. I'm actually really excited to see Stephon Diggs and Trayvon Diggs go at it. Hopefully they're both healthy at that point, so that that could be something that's highlighted in that game. But it's week 15 against the Bills. The Bills are going to be definitely a team that you want to watch this season, just because obviously their season ended the way that it did. They had Super Bowl aspirations, and they just fell really short, not even making the championship game. And so they're just going to be interesting to watch, to see if they cave mentally to that sort of aspiration again, or if they just rev it up again and they're a really good regular season team. Regardless, week 15 in Buffalo, knowing our struggles on the road, I think this game goes to the Bills. I just think it's a tough environment, especially there to go into Buffalo with our team in December. Again, I could be wrong. The Cowboys could be better than I think they are right now, which, right now I got them at an 11-2 record, so I don't know how much you guys want me to think that they're better than that, but I'm going to give the loss here. We lose on the road. We drop down to 11-3 early in December. We lose to the Bills. Then we take a trip down to Miami in December, which that's not even December. That's gonna be some warm weather there at Hard Rock Stadium, and this is a game. For some reason, right now, if you look at the betting odds, apparently the Dolphins are favored in this one, which I just don't understand. Nothing about the Dolphins. I'm not scared of the Dolphins. I really don't understand the hype personally around the Dolphins, and so that's a matchup I'm not even thinking twice about. It may be close, it may be fun, maybe a shootout, to be honest, but at the end of the day, we're going to take care of our business, and I think we beat the Miami Dolphins. And in week 16 with that win, we jump up to 12-3. Now you may be thinking, where are we at? Where do I predict we're at with the playoff scenario at this point? Because we just ended week 16, we're going into the final 2 weeks of football here. Well, I do believe the Cowboys, like I said, the NFC is wide open, and with the moves that they made, and if everyone's healthy, the Cowboys could easily be the number 1 seed. If they can take care of business, win the division, beat the Eagles when they need to, and take care of those hard games and those difficult games on the road, I see the Cowboys as a number 1 seed. They were so close, and come on, be honest with me. The Cowboys were so close to being that number 1 seed last season. They just dropped very important games with the Packers and the Jaguars, games that they were up substantially, and they just blew the lead. If you turn that page, and if the Cowboys win both those games, Cowboys could be the number 1 seed in that scenario. With the way the Eagles folded a little bit at the end of the season when Hurts got injured and they dropped a few games, the Cowboys could, I know it's a what if, but I'm just saying, with the new offensive look, with the new style of running and keeping it simple the way Schottenheimer and McCarthy want to run it, I'm confident in where we're. I don't think we're going to put up the amount of points that we did last season, but come on. More Kellen Moore put up a lot of points with us as our offensive coordinator, and look at where it got us. We never made it to the NFC Championship game. I don't mind sacrificing points and maybe having closer games if it means that we can protect the ball and at least get some wins and not give up leads. And so that's my opinion. I think the Cowboys are really going to take care of business from a large perspective, from a grand perspective, from a grand view. I feel like the Cowboys do a better job of that this season now that it's in the hands of Mike McCarthy. And so going into the final 2 weeks, I mean, this stretch right here is really difficult because you got the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Lions. The Lions are a tough football team, and I feel like they're on the up and coming here. And if you don't believe that, I mean, the NFL season, they have them opening up the season with the Chiefs, that's mind blowing to me that you're choosing the Lions and the Chiefs, which is crazy. But the Lions are a tough team. They can fight hard. And again, the NFC North is another division, just like the AFC East that I mentioned earlier. The NFC North is wide open for anybody. The Packers with Jordan Love, the Vikings, the Bears. It really is an open game. So I do believe we beat the Lions here. I think that's going to be a tough matchup. And, the Bills is a toss-up. Dolphins, I feel pretty good about. The Cowboys winning. And this one is a little bit of a toss-up, if I'm being honest. But I'm going to give the Cowboys the benefit of the doubt. Being in December, they need these games to close that number 1 seed. I'm going to give them the win right here, which brings them to 13-3 on the season. And like I said, I think Week 17 is a clinching scenario. That if they win, they're in. They get the number 1 seed, which brings us to Week 18, where we travel down to Washington for the last game of the season. We could go 14-3 and have a franchise record and win the most amount of wins in a regular season in the Cowboys' history. But I don't think so. I think the Cowboys probably rest their starters there, and they go to Washington. Maybe Cooper Rush gets some playing time down there, and I think we drop that game, splitting the season with the Washington Commanders 1-1. We lose that game in Week 18, just not because they beat us, but because we weren't playing anybody. And so I got us winning that game, or losing that game, going to 13-4. And there you have it, guys. That's my season prediction. 13-4, the Dallas Cowboys. And if you're probably wondering, is this guy any good? Is he, let's look back. 2021, I predicted the Cowboys were going to go 11-6. I thought they were going to win the NFC East. They actually went 12-5, and they did win the NFC East. And if you look back at that video, I was actually pretty good on track. And then last season, I thought we were going to go 10-7. I thought it was enough to win the NFC East, but I completely undermined, and I just completely saw over the Eagles. The actual season turned out to be 12-5, and we earned a playoff berth. And so I'm in the wheelhouse. I get it pretty close. And so this season, if you look at the home and the away records, I have us going undefeated at home, which, saying that out loud, is a little bit difficult. I mean, 7-1 is a little bit more probable, but 8-0 is a little bit of a stretch, but for now, I'll say 8-0. And then away, I have us at 5-4. So I don't know. You can play around with that. There's a few games that you can go back and forth on. I could see our home record being 7-1, and then away being 6-4 or something like that, just to bring those close together. But I do believe the Cowboys are a better team this season. I love what the moves that they're making. I love what we did in free agency. I loved what we did in the NFL draft. And I think this team's ready to propel and take off. And I think we have a really good team around Dak Prescott. And we saw the same thing in Tony Romo's career towards the end of it, where we finally gave him a team and we saw how well he excelled. I don't want to go so far and say that this is maybe an MVP season for Dak Prescott, but if he can stay healthy and if he can be efficient with the ball, and I really believe this, I keep coming back to this offensive style. This offensive style is really going to complement him, I believe, because it really is going to take the ball out of his hands again and get him back to what he was so good at, which was being a game manager. Dak Prescott can sling the ball and he can get 300, 400 yards. We've seen that before. But I don't want Dak Prescott doing that. I'm fine him handing the ball out, because we got Deuce Vaughn now. You can maybe throw Malik Davis in there. We got Tony Pollard and potentially Ezekiel Elliott. But, it's just, this is an offense that I feel like everyone can thrive in. And now that Dak has weapons, and if he can spread the ball around and be confident, I feel like it could be a really great season for him. And you don't even have to hear me talk about Michael Parsons and the defense. This defense, man, is going to be fun to watch. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to watch that defense, and it's been probably the thing that I tune in most when I'm watching the games, if I'm being honest. You know, I see the offense struggle, and I'm so glad Kellen Moore is gone. But when I see that defense come on the field, man, it's a lot of fun to watch, and it's going to be like that again this season. But I got us going 13-4 with a 13-4 record. Obviously, I do believe that's enough to win the NFC East, and I believe it's enough to clinch that number 1 seed. And if I could be so bold, the Cowboys, and I want to hear you out on this. Where is the ceiling for the Cowboys? And where is the mark? Where's the benchmark that you're telling yourself as a fan that if they don't at least reach this, then anything below it would be a failure? For me, it's the NFC Championship. I don't know how you assemble a team like this and you get anything shorter than the NFC Championship. And, you know, it's possible, you know, because we're the Cowboys and we're so used to disappointment. That's so normal. That is such a normal thing. But, you know, the ceiling for the benchmark at least is an NFC Championship. And I feel like the Cowboys are playing for the playoffs. You look at their moves that they're making, they're thinking playoffs. They already have a team that is capable of making the playoffs. We've seen that the past 2 seasons where they looked at this roster, they looked at this team, and it's like, hey, this team can get us 12 wins. But now they need to ask themselves, hey, now that we got 12 wins and we're going to be in the playoffs, how can we get those 4 wins? How can we get those 3 wins in the playoffs that you need to get that Super Bowl? And I believe they made the moves this offseason to do exactly that. I think this is a team to be excited about. I hope there's no injuries. If you want to pause the video and say a quick prayer for the Dallas Cowboys and their injuries, by all means, do exactly that. If the Cowboys can stay healthy, I like this team. I believe in this team. And I really feel, it's a broken record, man. I feel, man. Look, I'm your unbiased and realistic fan, and I know some of you have been subscribed to me since I started. You guys know how down I can get on the Cowboys. But this season has me believing. Go ahead and comment down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. And comment down below your score prediction, or not your score prediction, but your season record prediction. Let me know what you feel about this team. How many wins are we getting? What's the most exciting game that you're excited for? Go ahead and comment down below. I want to know. But I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't, and follow me on Twitter. I'll see you guys later. Go Cowboys.